Tonight, the current member for Giles pushes for a quarantine facility outside Port Augusta, and GFG Alliance's CEO makes his return to Whyalla.
From our 7 Spencer Gulf Studios, your nightly news with Ruby Kamain begins now.
Good evening. The establishment of a COVID quarantine facility on the west of Port Augusta has had many residents on edge since its inception. Current Giles member Eddie Hughes saying the site would have been better positioned outside of the town.
Nobody wants COVID on their doorstep. As the Giles electorate extends to include Port Augusta West, Eddie Hughes is asking why a quarantine facility was placed there.
This has been very poor planning and very poor preparation on the part of the Marshall government when it came to setting up a quarantine facility here in Port Augusta.
It'd be very, very difficult to get this just right, and we all know that. We all absolutely know that. So with regard to communication, no good. No hesitation from me in saying that SA Health did not do a good job.
Consulting with local residents, he says the community is annoyed other locations weren't sought out. Also saying using the Defence Force facility located 16 minutes outside of Port Augusta would work much better as a quarantine facility.
Discussed the availability and the use of Baxter. It's away from houses, it's secure. People only have to isolate for a couple of weeks, so it might well have been a good direction to go in.
He believes the base with its boarding facilities and secured perimeter already has everything needed to house patients.
We just got to do this far better. Now this horse has partly bolted, but people do want an assurance that this is not going to be a permanent facility here adjacent to the nearby houses.
Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The southeast section of the Royal Flying Doctor Service is adding another aeromedical service in the far west. The service will be 12 hours and complement the current 24-hour service already in the region.
Final arrangements are underway. A new service set to be up and running by March 10th at the Broken Hill base, aiming to provide more resources during the peak periods while enabling a greater response time for rural and remote communities.
This supports the growing need for capacity, especially around the requirement to transport ill patients to major metropolitan hospitals.
In 2021, there were more than 800 patient transfers, including inter-hospital transfers and emergency retrievals, spanning across 1,970 flights and 580,000 kilometres. So
there's a fair degree of flying that we do. And in addition to that, we also provide auxiliary medical services at many of our clinics across the region.
The bonus? More jobs in the far west, with extra pilots, doctors and nurses required.
We're looking to the tune of around 3 permanent full-time pilots, additional 3 permanent full-time flight nurses and doctors as well.
With the RFDS already building a hangar at the base, there isn't a need to upgrade the facility just yet.
We're also reviewing our current facilities and the footprint that we operate in. And yes, I would suggest that there will be certainly some additional work in the very near future to expand those facilities.
Joshua Mercer, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
GFG Alliance's CEO has returned to Whyalla 2 years after his last visit to the city. It will also be the first trip to the Whyalla Steelworks by Sanjeev Gupta, following the refinancing of his business. It also follows the steelworks selected by the Australian Rail Track Corporation to build heavy-duty rail for the Inland Rail project. GFG Liberty Steel will also supply rail for other ARTC projects. Today marked one of local racing's biggest calendar events, with the Port Lincoln Cup drawing in visitors from across the country. A day filled with awards, high fashion and celebrations. Our reporter Henry Millick was there in all the action.
It's Port Lincoln's biggest race day of the year, with many punters taking to the track looking to back a winner.
Look, mate, I think we're in for a long day. The first one didn't go to plan, but just really great to see the people out, people of Lincoln.
You picked any winners today?
No, not as yet, but I've got a dead set cert in the Cup.
Yeah, just got on the first race up 300, but that's standard.
This year's meet seeing an additional race added to the fixture.
The 9 races, because there is also an additional race because of the large number of nominations for the meeting, which is very pleasing.
Racing South Australia policy requiring all attendees to be double vaccinated, but restrictions not an issue, with many racegoers taking full advantage of the festivities.
It's always a fantastic day, you know, you catch up with a heap of mates and from all over the coast.
This is my first time here, so just enjoying the atmosphere and chat with everyone, catching up with everyone while we've got the chance.
I'm having so much fun. It's been really good so far, yeah.
It wouldn't be the races without some high-end fashion on display.
They do put on such a great show with the marquees and all the pop-up tents and everything, but the fashion of the field is really such a great thing about the races today.
Got the jacket, got the pants on, but really just great to see many people dressing up just like myself.
One punter backing in Gazinga Star all the way.
So put next week's pay on it, or last week's pay, and you double your money, mate.
That's all from down here on the track, but celebrations are only just getting started, with punters set to race on throughout the night.
Still to come tonight, removed infrastructure letting Port Augusta locals see vibrant sea life. And a Whyalla businesswoman recognised for her hard work. Welcome back. A touching tribute was on display in Port Augusta today for a man who is now soaring high. The community today said goodbye to Jeff Hunt, who worked at the local airport for 12 years. His funeral taking place in the gaze of aeroplanes, with police then guiding a long procession of motorbikes and cars along the Joybaloo Bridge at midday. Port Augusta's Coastal Care Group is worried the removal of the near-century-old Great Western Bridge will impact marine life. An underwater photographer sharing photos of the unique and vibrant species that called the bridge home in an effort to save it. Edward McCarroll reports.
Recreational scuba divers here in Port Augusta have descended to the depths of the port to unveil another world of colourful critters that have been right under our nose the whole time, with morning commuters unaware of the equally busy ecosystem below.
We've found a huge amount of nudibranchs, which is like a sea slug. We've found hatcheries and young marine life.
These hatcheries playing an important role in replenishing all the target species fishermen hope to reel in.
One's called a potbelly seahorse, which is probably the largest seahorse in Australia.
The port's old marine infrastructure acting as bones for living organisms to cling to.
Anywhere where there's structure or something for growth to grow on, it becomes a complete system of fish life.
It could all be in jeopardy though, with $22 million in state funding seeing the local wharf repaired but the Great Western Bridge completely removed.
The state government spent millions of dollars, and I mean literally millions of dollars on artificial reefs, down around near Ardrossan and closer to Adelaide, and yet we've got essentially a really great artificial reef that's been here for 70, 80 years.
With the bridge being deemed unsafe for the public, the Coastal Care Group is looking for ways to maintain the shade and structure it provides.
Who knows, it's like the butterfly effect. You move one small item out of the ecosystem and it has a roll-on effect.
Conservationists say removing segments of the bridge would be the best compromise, allowing access for boats and removing the risk of injury for pedestrians.
Whyalla's business community gathered last night to award this year's Businesswoman of the Year. Her Excellency the Governor of South Australia was present, with Michelle Storick named with a prestigious award.
A gala event to celebrate the women who run local businesses in the Steel City. Community members and political leaders, including the Governor of South Australia, gathering at the Westland Hotel last night.
I'm back in Whyalla for my second visit during my term as Governor, and here tonight to support the Whyalla Businesswoman of the Year Awards.
This year's accolade, awarded to Michelle Storick, recognised for her hard work in the community. Her Excellency emphasising the role local women play in running businesses across regional and rural South Australia.
Women have got a very important role to play in business across the state, in the regions. Women know their local communities. They're obviously capable of doing business locally.
This is the second time Her Excellency has visited Whyalla since she was appointed to the job in October last year, saying she enjoys meeting South Australians who are fiercely loyal to their local communities.
The opportunity to meet South Australians from so many different walks of life who are contributing to their communities, incredibly loyal to them.
Mark Zita, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. A Lifetime Achievement Award for a renowned Port Lincoln boxer, and the election promised to build a new sports precinct in Whyalla. Hello again. One of boxing's greatest contributors from Port Lincoln has received a Lifetime Achievement Award for his long-term commitment to the sport. Peter Williams continues to help young people both in and out of the ring.
A boxing legend helping the next generation get off the ropes. Peter Williams' involvement with the sport dates back to almost 50 years. Now he's been awarded an Order of Merit from Boxing SA.
Well, it doesn't mean a lot to me, Henry, but at the same time, I think it's going to open a few more doors for the gym and make young people of Port Lincoln to understand that anything can be achieved in life.
A former boxer himself, staking 2 pro fights in Victoria before moving to Port Lincoln in the 1970s. Now, Peter's passion lies in aiding young people by teaching them life skills.
But I believe that there should be more information on life skills, how to cope with life a little bit better, pull them aside, have a good chat to them, eye to eye, and then, progress from there.
Throughout Peter's career as a coach, he's trained hundreds of young boxers. However, he has since handed over the reins of the gym to one of his former pupils.
Scotty has taken over the gym. He's brought it into the modern time with our own merchandise and all that sort of stuff. He's got the same passion as what I've got.
But he's not hanging up the coaching mitts just yet, encouraging kids dealing with anxiety to come check out the gym.
Talk to your kids, make sure that you know where they're at. I think there's a lot of anxiety out there. I get phone calls about anxiety with young people every day of the week. I'd love to help everyone, but I can't. I think it all starts at home first.
Henry Millick, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The current member for Giles has announced he would like to see grounds surrounding an old high school developed into a new sports precinct. Eddie Hughes says a patch of land near Nicholson Avenue has been laying dormant for years.
Revitalising an unused block of land to benefit the community. The current member for Giles promising $6 million to be set aside for a new contemporary sports facility at the site of Edward John Eyre High School.
This is in the centre of our city. You look at Appleyard Reserve here. It's been dust and weeds now for years and years and years, and that's just not good enough. It's very tired looking.
The proposal also making use of Appleyard Reserve next to the school, along with the refurbishment of existing school facilities. Eddie Hughes saying the wasted space can be put to good use.
We need to put this surplus site to good use, and it's been my contention for many years now that it will be ideal as a contemporary sport hub.
The school was closed at the end of last year following the opening of the new secondary college. The site currently used as the city's rat collection hub.
There's an opportunity to bring together a whole range of sporting groups and really do something here. The $6 million that we're committing will get the ball rolling.
He says the funding for the project would be split between state, federal and local authorities. Mark Zita, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A giant catcher net has been installed at Pirie West Oval to stop flying soccer balls from landing on the bowling club's turf. The Port Pirie Bowls Club can now enjoy games in peace without having to worry about a soccer ball getting close to the jack.
It's something every kid wishes they had in their backyard. The Junior Soccer Association and Savoy Football Club can rest easy, knowing they won't have to jump the fence to go get their ball. And the Port Pirie Bowls Club will also be happy knowing games won't be disrupted by a flying soccer ball.
Probably 4 or 5 times that I've been on the green where we've had balls interfere with play. Probably the biggest issue is protecting the windows and also the solar panels on the roof. I think at one point we dragged 4 soccer balls off the roof.
The new net has been up for a week and the council is confident it will end the barrage of balls.
Sometimes when you live next to a neighbour and the ball keeps coming over, they keep the balls or puncture the balls for you. That'll stop that happening, I'd reckon.
Also protecting players from copying a ball to the back of the head.
It has bounced off bowls and the kitty. Basically, someone usually is going to yell heads because half of the members will be looking the wrong way. So there's a chance of them catching it in the back of the head.
While also preventing soccer players from damaging the turf.
Lots of people probably don't know quite how fragile the greens are, and we have had a couple of occasions where kids, not doing it deliberately, but they've come over and had their sprigs on the green, which can cause some pretty significant damage to the sand base.
It's safe to say the bowlers will now be able to enjoy their games in peace. Christian Komenos, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us, more sport after the break. Our cricket experts will share their tips for weekend matches. And we'll have the weekend weather details with Alex Sykes. Welcome back. The Barrier District Cricket League's grand final is this weekend, with Central Broken Hill taking on West Broken Hill at Alma Oval. It's the first time in 5 years North won't be there.
Finally, the day players have been looking forward to since the season began. Grand final day for local cricketers, looking to revel in the spoils of victory. Central Broken Hill Cricket Club were the first club through after finishing off the season as minor premiers, getting a week off before the game.
I mean, like the advantage of having it off is that you don't have to go through the stress of putting it all on the line and playing back-to-back finals, I suppose, to try and make it all come together in a fortnight.
Paul is wary of West's batting, saying they are a patient side at the crease, signalling out Paul Atard, Lockie Harvey and Peter Christos.
You've got some big hitters, so they can damage you really quickly. Over 40 overs, they can set up a total. They've got some patient batsmen.
The last time these two sides met in the grand final was in the 2016-17 season, with Central running out the winners on that day by 25 runs.
Just good that that we've both rebuilt, and obviously the success that North have had over the last few years. It's finally good that the clubs are starting to challenge them now, which is great.
The game kicks off at 11:30 a.m. tomorrow. Joshua Mercer, 7 Spencer Golf News.
More cricket action now. Here are our experts with their tips for the weekend, starting with that Broken Hill Grand Final.
Final weekend of Broken Hill cricket this weekend, with finals time in all grades. In the A grade final, North bowed out last week for the first time in 5 to 6 years. So a few new faces in the final this year. Central's take on West at the Alma Oval. This looks like being a very close contest. I'm leaning to Central's because I've got a little bit more conviction about their batting. In the women's final will be played here at the Jubilee tonight. West going for a three-peat tonight, and I think they can achieve it.
Hello and welcome to the first week of finals in Port Pirie cricket. With just a 2-week final series, Wandera gone straight into the grand final after finishing minor premier, with Props set to take on Southport here on Saturday. Props have had a great season and will be looking to continue that form into this match. Southport have been a bit up and down, but still find themselves with a chance to go into the grand final. I'm going to tip Props.
Yeah, g'day and welcome to this week's round of Portiasa cricket tips. This week sees the commencement of the finals. First game will be elimination final. This should be a good match. Westies, although finishing bottom, they've actually won the last 3 games that they've played in. So I'm going to actually tip them to beat Central Augusta, last year's grand final winners. The other match sees South Augusta take on Corn in Corn. The winner of this match will go straight into the grand final. That match I'm going to tip Corn to beat South, only because the game's going to be played in Corn. So there's my 2 winners, West Augusta and Corn.
Hello and welcome to the last round of the Whyalla Cricket Association. On Saturday we see Rupina taking on North Whyalla. North Whyalla coming off an extremely dominant win against West, and I think they're going to keep it going with them to win, and Dave Miller is the big inclusion. In the other game of the round we see Central Whyalla take on West. West are still wounded, and I think Centrals are back in form, so I'm going to take Centrals.
Welcome to another week of Port Lincoln cricket tips. Charlton take on Tasmans this week in a battle for second spot. Should be a really good game of cricket. It's on the turf at Centenary, where the finals are played over the next few weeks. Going to tip Tasmans to get over the line and take second spot. In the next game is top of the table, Southern Air versus Waybacks. They're also fighting for a second spot chance, depending on results in the other match. They'll be up and about for this one, but Southern Air should be too strong and get the job done. Finals next week. We're looking forward to a big weekend of cricket. Thanks for listening to Port Lincoln Cricket Tips.
Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather this weekend. Here's Alex Sykes.
Thanks, Ruby, and happy Friday, everyone. It was a cloudy and mild day across most of our region today. At 3 p.m, Whyalla and Port Pirie both reached 24 and Port Lincoln was 25 degrees. Looking further out across the region now, Port Augusta was 27, Broken Hill was mostly sunny and 30. Our friends in Adelaide got to 22, Woodner was cloudy and 24, Kadina and Cleve both reached 25, Clare was partly cloudy and 22, Cooper Pedy was mostly sunny and 32 degrees, and Coffin Bay reached 22. Taking a look at the satellite image now, cloud crossing the west with a cold front and trough is causing a few showers about the west coast, dry and sunny in the east with a drier and hotter air mass. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters, south to southwesterly swells 20 to 25 knots, seas 1.5 to 2 metres, and south to southwesterly swell around 1 metre. Partly cloudy across most of the region tomorrow. Port Lincoln and Cleve both set to reach a high of 23 degrees, Woodner to reach 27, Whyalla 24, Port Augusta and Kadina both set to top 25 degrees, Port Pirie also set to reach a high of 25, Clare 22, and Broken Hill be mostly sunny and 27 degrees. Similar conditions forecast for Sunday. Sunny for Cooper Pedy, set to reach 30. Partly cloudy across the rest of the region. Temperatures mainly in the mid to high 20s. Taking a look further through to next week now. Sunny again in Cooper Pedy on Monday, 31. Partly cloudy across the rest of the region. Temperatures again in the mid to high 20s. And on Tuesday, the sunny conditions continue for Cooper Pedy, a max of 30 degrees there. Broken Hill and Port Pirie both 28, Port Augusta and Woodner both 26 degrees. So Ruby, the weekend is looking just glorious, especially for the cricket finals. And that's all the weather from me for tonight. It's back to you.
Thanks for that, Alex. And that's all local news this Friday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you later with updates. Enjoy your weekend. Good night.